Peace be on you all. In this second part of the second section, we will briefly summarize the spirit and soul in Sumerian, Egyptian, and Greek mythology of the Middle East. Clay tablets found about the Mesopotamia civilizations indicate that Sumerians divided the existence into 4 parts. Invisible part of the existence was called An or Anu. Visible universe was Anki, earth was Ki, and the sky was Lil. Eventually, these names became the name of deities. The creator of the visible and invisible beings was still called An or Anu, and considered the head of the other deities. The deity Enki, created by joining the name of the creator and the earth, and made responsible for controlling water, earth, and agriculture-related matters. The deity Enlil, created by joining the name of the creator and the sky, and made responsible for air, atmosphere, rain, and weather-related matters. Around 3000 to 1750 BC, Sumerians were believing that the world was flat. Outer space was for the deities, the world was for the living, and the underworld was for the dead people. Salvation of the spirit depended on either finding a way for eternal life on earth or serving the existing deities with full submission. As the good spirit would go to dwell in the sky somewhere in between the earth and space, and the bad spirit would go to the underworld that has nothing but dust, dirt, and bitter water. Eventually, even they established a council of deities with human attributes, feelings, and virtues. Even they were made to marry and have their own offspring deities. In the meantime, fear of going into the horrifying underworld after death was forcing people to search for eternity in the world. Story of Gilgamesh indicates that Z, life, was squeezed in between upper and underworld, and the salvation of the body, spirit, and soul could only be achieved if the eternal life attained on earth. Unfortunately, Gilgamesh fails to bring the plant of the eternity that would make human beings live forever. Then the only thing left behind for them was to serve the deities above, well, to save their spirit from going into the dreadful underworld. Ancient Egyptian civilization between 4000 to 30 BC concentrated on human consciousness. Human being was divided into 3 parts. Spiritual part was called Ach, soul was Ba, and the physical part was Ka. Salvation of the spirits depended on the full unification of both Ba and Ka to become Ach, which was the unified transformation enabling them to go into the light of Ra, the sun god. Only then the dead would be able to leave the world in peace. However, when Ka was not departed from the world with total satisfaction, it would not unite with Ba to become Ach. Therefore, it would stay as a ghost in the world until the existing problem solved. For example, when the dead person was not satisfied with its mummification, Ka would not unite with Ba to leave the world. It would stay behind as a ghost to take revenge from the people who did not make or prevented it to have proper embalmment. Therefore, great care was taken during the mummification of the dead body. This was to satisfy Ka, to unite with Ba, to become Ach, Only then dead would go to the spiritual world happy and stay there until the day of coming back to enter the well-preserved body again. Greek mythology flourished between 3000 to 1000 BC. It was full of tales of deities, gods and goddesses, and semi-deities involving natural and supernatural worlds. Zeus was the head of the deities, and all the other deities represented by human figures, objects, and animals in the form of statues or drawings. They were given certain responsibilities in day-to-day individual and social issues concerning natural and supernatural matters. People had to make these deities happy, not to be punished during the lifetime, for the salvation of their spirit and soul after life. It is believed that if the gods were upset with the dead, the spirit would go to Hades, the underworld where he or she received severe punishments. If the gods were happy with the dead, he or she was led to walk over the field of asphodel, where the plants of immortality flourished. It was also believed that once the dead people walked into the wilderness of the asphodel, they totally forgot about their previous life. However, they still needed to be judged in the end. After the judgment, good spirits were allowed to go to Elysium, a place where the blessed spirits dwell. Some sent to the Tartarus, a place where the deep abysses for the punishment of the bad spirits. If there were some spirits that cannot be decided where to go, they would send back to the field of asphodel, where the indifferent and ordinary spirits dwell. Another way of understanding spirit, soul, and body interrelations and spirit salvation alongside the ancient mythology is the ancient philosophy. However, we have to keep in mind that most of the information coming from the ancient philosophers are not primary, but secondary sources. We learn about them from the later scholars who mention them in their own works. Thales of Miletus, who lived between 624 to 548 BC, is known as the first naturalist. He said that base of the existing was water, and the order of the world was from God, who was in relation with every single being. This not only paved the way for combining belief and science together, but also concentrated on human physical well-being on earth. Thus, the study of soul, human structure, and the social relations tended towards a new system that included belief, faith, and science. Heraclitus of Ephesus, on the other hand, who lived between 540 to 480 BC, said that basis for existing was fire. He argued that all creations were made of opposites, built on causes and effects, always changing and complementing each other. He also mentioned about the existence of invisible power, pulling and pushing energy, bonds that keep every creation in balance, within self and with the other creations in the universe. For Heraclitus, the transformation of one being into another meant the death of the previous one for the life of the new. He believed that there was death in this life, and eternity only exists after life, where the spirit can face unexpected things. During the time of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, between the late 4000 to early 3000 BC, discussions began to focus on how the non-scientific spirits and transcendental beings could be understood and explained by studying the physical beings scientifically. They concentrated on emotions mostly for obtaining happiness on earth. They also agreed that human beings could achieve eternal true salvation only through educating immortal spirits while they were in mortal bodies. Plato considers virtue is the key for happiness, saying that knowledge is the most valuable thing for reaching to the truth. He also says that people must concentrate on their own personal moral development rather than focusing on material belongings. Even though these scholars have certain differences, they all think the right action will lead human beings to have factual happiness on earth and the actual happiness in hereafter. On the other hand, Socrates concentrates on ethical values alongside the scientific evidences to reach to the truth. However, he does not explain who will differentiate the right from the wrong in the ethical values for salvation of the spirit's soul, as well as for the happiness of the bodies on earth. Plato concentrates on social common values under the governing body, and the personal spiritual salvation or punishment depends on how well or how bad one behaves in the society. He talks about the golden ratio. The balance in life is must for the salvation of the spirit and the happiness on earth. He argues that the eternal spirit and virtue moves and controls the mortal physical body. Therefore, human beings can only have knowledge of eternal unseen values by analyzing the physical beings. Socrates and Plato concentrate on spirit, soul, and body and keep every individual responsible for their own physical well-being as well as salvation of eternal spiritual self by the action taken in personal and in social orders. Aristotle is not sure about the life after death, makes every individual responsible for the salvation of their own eternal spirit and happiness on earth. None of them explain the meaning of deity and how to maintain the freedom, equality, and justice among equal individuals and in social orders for not to oppress one another. Yet again, we must always keep in mind that choosing deity is the Lord giving right to every individual human being. Therefore, every human being is fully free to choose their own deity and fully responsible by their own choice. No one has right over the others to use force in the matter of choice at all. That's all for now, and hope to see you soon in the next video, which will be on Revelations.